All right, so welcome to the plug-in. I'm here. I'm here with my long-awaited guest that I've been talking about and having everybody in tune with that I needed to know. Um, Hopefully everybody was watching the little preview we did on Friday, and yeah, we got a lot of stuff that we got to talk about. I was trying to say on Friday, I was trying to say, you came with high praise, a lot of cachet, you know what I mean? Like a lot of fervor, like just great accolades from, all the stuff that I've heard. So,
Well, I definitely have to say before you even finish the introduction, I got a call or a text message from one of my friends from In Traffic magazine. There's a guy named Evan that I've been dealing with at the prison level, and he's been putting me on to a lot of different like special guests and speaking engagements at the prisons. And he has a magazine that he created from prison. Okay. So everybody check it out. It's called In Traffic magazine. But he knew about this interview, and I don't know how he knew, but he hit me up. Was like, "Yo, you doing an interview, a plug-in with Darrell?" I'm like, "How he know that?"
Yo, I'm cracking up.
Oh, how you know that? Like, what's going on with your reach? I mean, you got a lot of people out there that's tuning into you, because he definitely knew that I was going to be here. I thought that was funny.
So that's super funny. So I got a story behind that. So yesterday, my cousin calls me he's with your homie.
Right.
So he says, I thought you was doing the thing on Friday. They said you doing it on Monday. And I'm like, how you know? Because yesterday, right. So yesterday was really stressful for me because I said something to you on Friday about my mom's passing 3 years ago. So my mom's big thing was football. Sunday was like, was like medicine.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, and because the Eagles already played on Thursday, I didn't really have nothing to really jump up and down about yesterday other than just, watching the 1 o'clock games, the 4 o'clock game, the night game. That was a great nightcap last night. But I just kept thinking about her all day, man. Just, it kind of had me down, you know what I mean? And, for the people that don't know, and I don't think that you know, but Plug-in is Patricia's legacy of unity and growth. And then the IN is inspiration for navigation. So yesterday, man, I was just like in the bed. But when he called me and told me that, and something told me to pick up the phone, because I was actually on another call, and something told me to hang up with them and get on the phone with him. And it actually helped me, him saying that, it really helped me, because I was like, that's crazy. You got it like locked in before me, because I remember you did say, you could do the Monday thing, but.
Yeah, I just told you, I was telling you from the beginning, I wasn't on your time, because I felt like in the very beginning our signals was crossed.
Yeah.
And it was hard for you to get to me, so that's why I was like, I'm going to do this whenever you want me to do it. Yeah. And let you know that I'm definitely dedicated and loyal to try to make sure I made your platform. So I'm glad that we made it. I'm glad that we're here.
Yeah,
I didn't get the chance to let you introduce me. My name is Darrell Alston.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The CEO of Bungee Brand. And and the journey has been crazy, which is the reason why Darren reached out in the first place. So,
well, speaking of that, before I get into the backstory, like a big thing that's been on my mind with you is like, how do you remain humble like that though? Because it's a lot of people in entertainment and fashion, sports, music, just all across the board, but it's not a lot of people that I feel like, and I got a long way to go in this industry, but just being that humble person, man, it's rare. Like,
to answer that question, for some reason, even though it's been years since I've been released from prison, I still feel like I just got out. And then every single person that wants to talk to me, every person that wants to do business with me, every person that wants to buy my stuff, I know that I'm nothing without them. So with me having that mentality, I don't come into a situation like I think I'm it, I think I'm this, I'm that, because I'm not. Without you guys, I'm nothing. So without you wanting to interview me, no one's going to hear me. Without people buying my merchandise, I'm not going to be able to sell the things that I designed. Without people wanting to do business with me, I'm nothing. So it's like, I'm never going to act funny towards that, because without y'all, there's no me. And that's just the way that I look at it. You know what I mean? And I don't understand people, like let's say for you, let's say your platform blew up. You can't get all cocky and all that, because without the people watching your platform, you're nothing. So that's the reason why I kind of took that approach and was just like, I don't care who it is. I don't care what platform it is. I don't care who wants me to come on. I don't care if you have 200 followers. I don't care if you have 50 million followers. If you need me and want me, I'm coming. You know what I mean? And that's just how I look at it.
No, I really appreciate that, man. That's just great to hear, man. So like I said, like with the backstory, and it's funny how things work because this really could have came into fruition back in the spring.
Right.
So we talking 4-5 months ago, and now we pretty much in the fall time. So during that time, well, first things first, the irony is I had did a podcast. It was like one of my, like, I think it was like my second podcast that I actually did, like my second episode, like by myself. And shout out to the Harper family in Phoenixville. They wanted me to interview their matriarch named Monk. So long story short, we did it. We filmed it out like at a park on the north side. Actually, the park dedicated to my cousin Sir John. But after that, one of the family members, they were like, you know, I know a couple people that you should interview, and you were one of the people.
Oh wow!
So that was the first time, and like I said, that was back in like April, and then the second time was that event when you came.
Right. And
yeah. Yep. And then we actually exchanged information, and that was still like early summer. So I said I gotta still get more reps. You know what I mean? Like I gotta get better and better and better and better, and then feel comfortable, you know, being able to interview in a professional setting. And my barber was like, yo, you gotta get like really into a professional setting if you really want to take this thing to where you want to take it to. So yeah, now we here, man, and I just feel like it's like how Drake said, like God's plan, like it's just certain things just happen for a reason.
Right.
You know what I mean? And things just come.
Well, as far as I'm concerned, I interviewed with so many different people, so many TV shows, so many news segments, and the best interviews are the ones that I can just be myself, sit back and chill and just have a conversation.
Yeah.
So it's like, even though I've been on certain levels, it's just like, when you gotta sit there and be uptight and you gotta be worried about every little thing that you say and everything has to be perfect. I don't like those settings. You know what I mean? I like this right here. I like, you know, when I can just sit here and just have a real conversation. And then also it's like, when you get to a certain level, and I know that this is business reasons only, but like when you get to a certain level when it comes time for broadcasting, they take the best parts out of it, I feel, because they're only looking for that tagline. Mm-hmm. So like in my story only was about the fact that I created my brand while I was incarcerated. That's it. So that was the headline on every magazine, every news channel, but no one ever asked anything else about what I did with my business after I got out of jail. Everyone seems to think that I just designed, created the brand in jail, and I came home and blew up. But there was such a big missing piece between those two things. And like I said, you know, on the news, it's just like, Darrell Alston, CEO of Bungee Brand, started this while he was in jail, and now he's dealing with Neiman Marcus. It's like, nah, dog, it was a whole thing between those two things.
Transition.
You know
so
what I mean?
I want to get into all that, but I really want to start because I had seen that you had played football. So that was one of my things when I was young. Excuse me. I used to play football in the neighborhood,
Right.
just with my friends, and it was like some of the best times. Just being a kid when we would play in the snow and tackle, and it was just everything, man. So my mom had actually moved us to like a more like an urban. I don't want to say a bad neighborhood, but it was more urban, more minorities, Norristown.
Mm.
So that's when my friends was like, yo, you gotta play on the team. But my mom, she never wanted me to play because she was worried about me getting hurt. So long story short, because I want you to get your stuff out. I feel like when I got on the team in middle school, my mom, she made it a point to actually get me kicked off the team. And not trying to say like in a negative way, but that's when I turned to the streets because my parents was already divorced. And I felt like I didn't really have enough. But what was your thing that like, was there something when you was a kid where you was like, man, I'm just gonna do what I'm gonna do. You know what I mean? Like,
well, when I was a kid, my situation was a little bit different because, you know, I had both of my parents.
Right.
My dad was a diehard football fan and my mom rocked with him. You know what I mean? So we was in a football family. He didn't even want me to run track, play basketball, none of that. He wanted me to focus on football, even though I did more sports. He was down with it, but he really wanted me to focus on football. And then like in the neighborhood that I grew up in, it was like you either was breakdancing, playing basketball, or playing football. And the basketball and football kind of went together. You was either playing basketball or you was playing football. So it was like my whole thing was either hip hop or sports. You know what I mean? Like growing up where I grew up at. So I just got to the point where like I was really good at football, and I had a couple different opportunities to go play in college, and I chose to be a rap artist. I didn't want to get hit anymore. I didn't want to live that life anymore. I wanted to do music. And in my mind at that time, there was no way you was going to tell me that I wasn't going to blow up as a rapper. You know what I'm saying? I was going to blow up regardless. And that was just my mindset. And I remember when I told my dad, I was like, I'm not going to college. I'm going to do hip hop for a living. He snapped. You know what I mean? He snapped. And he was mad at me pretty much my whole adult life after that. You know what I mean? Because he felt like I had an opportunity, a bigger opportunity to play ball. And it wasn't even necessarily about like going to the NFL or anything. It was more or less like going to college, using that as a stepping stone to be able to get whatever employment that you wanted and stuff like that. But I chose to do the music thing, and that was a very wrong choice for me.
Did you, so for football, what school was you at? Somebody did ask me that. They like,
I went to Conestoga High School.
Okay.
And then I had opportunities to go to Villanova, University of Penn, a bunch of different D1 schools. Like I don't even remember the list offhand, but I remember what Penn State. There was a couple different places I could have went to, and I ended up not going.
And
so,
what position was you playing?
I played both sides. I played running back and I played defensive back, and I started on both sides. As a matter of fact, my dad used to laugh at me because I used to always complain about being tired. Mm-hmm. And he was like, man, just keep it going. But I remember I used to be on the field from kickoff to the end of the game. Okay. You know what I mean? Because I played on kickoff return, punt return, running back and defensive back. So I was out there the whole game.
Just like a two-way player, like Travis Hunter.
Yeah, exactly like him.
Yeah. It's crazy, man. So,
and I was getting it. I definitely was getting it. I mean, now when I was doing it at the time, it didn't seem like it was a big deal. But now when I go back and think about everything that I accomplished, like I was going through my dad's belongings. I just lost my dad as well. Yeah. And he had like my defensive back of the week awards and the running back awards. So I was really breaking records and stuff on both sides of the ball. So I was definitely doing my thing at that time.
Did you ever think back like, I should have just kept playing ball?
Of course.
All right.
Of course. I definitely think about that all the time. I just think that for me, I just wanted to do music. Like that was my thing. You know what I mean? And I wasn't really worried about sports. I remember I used to leave practice early to go to, rap rehearsal and stuff like that because we had a group. And, we used to, Johnny Darrell, he was the one that was like the leader of the group, him and another guy named Carl Hampton. I was the youngest in the group, so I kind of just like floated around them, but we had rehearsals. We was like a professional group. Mm-hmm. And I used to leave football practice to go to that rehearsal. So for me, music was way more important. I got way more girls, you know what I mean? I was way more popular doing music than I was, playing football, you know what I mean?
So what was your influences like in hip hop?
Back then I was an LL dude.
Oh,
you know what I'm saying? Like LL. And then, I pretty much saw almost every generation of hip hop except for like the Curtis Blows and Grandmaster Flashes and stuff like that, because that was way before me. Mm-hmm. But I remember when I first started falling in love with hip hop, LL was like Drake. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And at that time, you didn't really have that many choices. Like there's a lot of choices now, but like back then, L was it. You know what I mean? Yeah. And then back then, they would release one album a year, so you had to go a whole year listening to the same album. So, I had LL, I had, like MC Shan, Steady Being Cool, seeing them in Philly, Schoolie D, people like that. And then it gradually got to NWA, to the Jay-Z, Nas's, and Biggie's, and Pac's, and all that stuff. So I kind of was like stuck between those two generations. Mm-hmm. And it just kind of just went from there. And I can honestly say that the hip-hop, at the time, I remember when Tupac was going through some things, and I remember C. Dolores Tucker was like really, really trying to get like black kids to stop listening to hip hop. And we used to be like, man, how you gonna sit there and say that we're influenced by hip hop? It's not like that. Y'all need to mind y'all business. Y'all old, y'all know what y'all talking about. But the whole time I was influenced by hip hop. Yeah. The whole time I didn't even realize it. So like all the different things I was doing in the streets, it was because of what I was hearing. I mean, like if I heard, Locke saying something about I got scales that you can weigh the whales with and all that, I'm trying to get to that point. I'm trying to weigh a whale on my scale, you know what I mean? Right. So it's like, I really believe that as I became an adult, I started to realize how much this hip hop really influences us. And I think that at the time, I was so naive with it that I believed what they were saying. So like, for example, when we were watching MTV Cribs and all that, I'm thinking that's really they Cribs.
Yeah.
When I'm watching their video shoots, I'm really thinking that's really their
How they
cars,
living.
that's really their girls, that's really their money. And it wasn't until I got into a like much bigger space where I started to see that like when people were going to their video shoots, their clothes are laid out for them. The jewelry man and already came there with all the jewelry. He's laying all the stuff out for you. And then once you get there, you're coming with nothing. You get dressed, you have all this stuff, cars, rentals, houses, all that stuff. When the video shoot's over, all that stuff stays and you leave with nothing.
Yeah.
And I didn't know that. Like I really thought they was coming into this person's house and they was,
It's like a lot of props they give you.
Right.
Yeah.
So, that's just me being naive, but that's the reason why when I try to talk to kids now, it's like, yo, don't believe it, man. It's like a movie set. It's like you're going to a movie to watch a movie. You don't believe it when you see Al Pacino playing Scarface. You know that's not really Scarface. You know that's not really a real character. Like you're just amused by the movie, but you know that the Al Pacino is not really him. And that's what I think that I had to realize when it came time for music. Like these dudes are not what they say they are. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, no, that's why I said on the preview, like, we got a lot of stuff in common because shout out to my big brother, Dez, 10 years older than me. So I always tell the story because it's so funny. When I was like 5, I would hear him. He's in high school. I'm like 5. So he's listening to KRS and like you said, MC Shan, NWA and all that. And I'm a little kid. But somehow I learned the KRS, the Criminal Minded.
Yeah,
so he was so blown away. He would have his friends come over. He'd be like, "Yo, you gotta hear my little brother. He was rhyming this whole KRS." And he would have me, recite the whole joint like. And I just memorized it. I didn't write it down or anything like that. I was like in kindergarten or something. So yeah, hip hop was really, really heavy in my house, just like how you said. And then going out and hanging with your friends, like you really do get caught up in it.
Yeah, and I think for the most part, like even when my mom and dad used to ask me questions about why I did what I did, and it didn't really seem like it was like anything out of the ordinary, because that's how we were living our lives. It's like I would wake up in the morning, I would go outside. This is as when I became a teenager and all that. Everybody out there was trying to find ways to get some weed to smoke and to find something to drink. Mm-hmm. I didn't do any of that. I never drank or smoked, but it's just that that's when I was around the whole time. Mm-hmm. So if my everyday routine is that when I come outside, I started to get to the point where I was like, okay, these dudes are doing everything possible to try to scramble to get, $40 to go buy $40 worth of bud. I'm like, I'm also going to go ahead and just put my $500 up and go grab a bag of bud and just break it off and just start selling to people all day. And that's kind of how I got my start. Like, I got to find a way to be able to make money off of me just sitting around playing video games and trying to write raps and stuff. Like, I just wanted to try to incorporate that into everything I was doing. And then that's when everything kind of went wrong. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because it was just too much. You know what I mean? Like it only lasts so long.
Right. But you don't have that mindset because that's your everyday routine. So it's like you're not thinking. Like even when my dad used to be like, all the criminals that I know, drug dealers I know, they're either dead or in jail. And it's like, well, I know a bunch of drug dealers that's alive right now and they're not in jail and they're making money. Yeah. You know what I mean? So it was like, it was just. I think that I had my signals crossed. And I was hard-headed. I wasn't really listening to all the different people that was trying to tell me things. Like it was wild.
What would you say to like advice like for a kid like me? So coming out of a broken home, it was like I was feeling like say by like 10, 11, right? I started feeling like why me? You know what I mean? Like why my parents can't, stay together or whatever. So I would think like kids that have the parents in the house, like I always would think like their success rate is better or something. But I'm learning now in my, now I'm growing up and I'm learning more. Like it don't really matter about that.
Right.
It just I guess it's just about like the person. So what would you say to like kids that feel like, I can't make it because I only got my mom or I only got my dad. You know what I mean? Like.
I think for the most part, and it's going to be easy for me to say, but I think it's the truth, we got to stop making excuses, man. Just go do what we got to do. Get focused on what we're going to focus on and go do it. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's like, why are we sitting there worrying about not having a mom or a dad? Like, you're not going to get one. They're gone. You know what I'm saying? So just go do what you got to do. You can't do that with the rest of your life. But I know you're talking about from a 10 or 11-year-old perspective. Yeah. So they're not thinking like how it would be of us as a grown man or grown men. But like, even though I had both of my parents, I was fortunate enough to have them, but I never really thought about having them because they were always there. You know what I'm saying? Like I was never one of those type of dudes that was like, I need to have my mom or dad around me because I was always doing my own thing. I was always by myself. You know what I mean? Even in the household, you know, with both of my parents, I was always in my room by myself. I was always doing my own thing. I never really needed my parents to do much for me. You know what I mean? Like I wasn't leaning on them per se. You know what I mean? Now I can say that, you know, I needed them for clothes. You know what I mean? Vehicle when I turned 16 and stuff like that. So they were there for all that. But what I mean by that is like, I know kids now that can't even go to the room and play by themselves without their parents coming to play with them. You know what I'm saying? Because, you know, I'm around a bunch of kids and stuff like that now. And it's like, I never needed my parents to come play with me, bro. I could just do my own thing. You know what I mean? And then I even remember even when I used to get in trouble, my mom and dad's punishments used to be crazy. Like they would put me on punishment for like, you know, a semester of school. You know what I mean? And my whole routine was go home, get in my room, no toys, no video games, no nothing. You just sitting there with books. You know what I mean? The whole semester. You know what I mean? Like I remember sometimes I got in trouble. My dad used to make me eat dinner and everything in my room. So it's like, you know, when you live like that, I mean, I used to be like, yo, why don't you just give me a beating and just let me get it over with? You know what I mean? Because those punishments were worse. And my dad always said that he was never going to hit me. So to this day, my mom and dad never gave me a beating or anything. Like I never had that. You know what I mean? But I am fortunate enough to know that I had both of my parents. And it's really easy for me to say, if you don't have both of your parents, suck it up. It's really easy for me to do that. So I might not be the one to give that advice. Because one thing I can say is I hate it when rich people be like, it's not even always about money. Oh, it's not about money for you because you have money.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But for me, I need that bread. Like I gotta pay my bills. So like it's always funny that people that have things say that not having it isn't a big deal. You know what I mean? So that's why I don't want to get into the whole, you know, like parent things. I have both of mine. You know what I mean? So
I do know it could be worse. That's one of them things that I always, when I got in my 20s, like like my nephew, he don't got neither one of his parents. You know what I mean? So it's like it could always be worse. Right. It could always be better, but you gotta basically the harsh reality is like you said, you gotta suck it up. You know what I mean? You gotta.
It's okay for you to sit back and think about it every once in a while. Like, damn, I don't have this or I don't have that. But you don't want to not do anything because you don't have that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like I know people that's adult people that had, you know, certain things happen in their lives. And I don't really want to get descriptive, but certain things happen in their lives and they're just like, oh, I can't do it because this happened to me when I was 14. Or nope, I can't do this. I'm going to just turn to drugs and alcohol because I can't comprehend because of what happened to me when I was a teenager. You know what I mean? But you're 40. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, is that an excuse now? Or is that person really facing some sort of trauma that I don't know about because I never had to face that? Yeah. But one thing that I can tell you is I know right now, things are happening right now in my life, whether it's bills, whether it's things I need, whether it's businesses I'm trying to run. I don't have time to be worried about what happened to me when I was 14, 15 years old. I got to get past it. Now, again, I'm telling you, it's okay to go back and think about it. It's okay for you to sit in your bed and cry at night about it if that's what you want to do. But at the same time, you can't stop living your life because of something that happened 20 years ago. You know what I mean? Yeah. So that's pretty much the way that I look at it.
Well, that's a big part of the plug-in, man, because, you know, losing my mom, but I talked about it at her service. Like I got to do something to carry the legacy, and that's where it comes from. Like I knew it was something that she would be proud of. You know what I mean? It's something that she would be like, that's what you're supposed to be doing right there. Right. You know what I mean? And my mom loved talking. All her friends and family, I remember hearing them talking on the phone on like a Saturday or Sunday morning. They'd be talking for hours. You know what I mean? You know how they do. Was you an only child? Mm-hmm. Okay, all right. So that's like my cousin. That's another thing. Like growing up in an only child thing, you don't think about it. Like me, I got a brother, two brothers, two sisters. So I never would think about it until like when I interviewed my cousin and she was talking about, you know, I guess it was like something that bothered her when she was growing up. But you would never know that. You know what I mean?
It bothered her to be an only child.
Yeah, I guess she said being lonely. You know what I mean? But
I loved it.
For a female, you know what I mean? We men. So for a female, is I guess it was like a thing for her, but.
Yeah, I loved it. I still love it.
I was going to ask you about your incarceration because like I told you on Friday, I was incarcerated a couple of times myself. But like, did it change you? Like, I know my third time, I was like, man, something got to give. And I figured out when I came home, I had to it was a certain stuff I had to cut out. But like, was it like, did it change you like each time? And I know the last time, that's when you really got
Yeah,
it.
I think my first 2 times, I was just in there trying to find ways to get out and do what I needed to do and not get caught.
Right.
So it didn't change me at all. It was the third time that I was just like, too many things were happening on the third trip. And he was telling another CO, like, I want you to look out for them, like talking to me and my cellie. And my cellie was like, what you talking about, look out for us? He was like, because y'all gonna help me get my kids through college. And you know, the bull, like my man was laughing about it, but as we was walking the chat, I'm like, bro, you know that he just came at us, right?
Yeah.
And he didn't really know what I meant. And I'm just like, yo, like dude's really saying that our incarceration helps him pay for his family to go through college. We need to be out there paying for our own kids to get in college. So that was the first blow that happened to me. The second thing that happened to me was my grandfather passed away when I was in there, and that was my guy. Like, me and my grandfather was tight, and he passed away while I was in there. And I kept thinking to myself, like, I can't be in here when my mom and dad passed. You know what I mean? So it was like, so that happened, that had to give. And then I just got tired of just sitting around. Like, my last bit was 7 years. You know what I'm saying? So it was like, by the time the fourth year rolled around, I was like, man, I can't do this shit anymore. Excuse my language.
No.
I can't do this anymore. So I finally started like trying to put my little career path together, and that's what happened. So I had about 3 years to plan it out.
Did it? Because it seemed like on the VH1 joint, it seemed like it just hit you one day, and then you just started drawing, right?
It did, yeah. Yeah, it was like I had a phone call with my mom, and she was just basically just talking about what I can and can't do when I come home because of my criminal background. And she started crying like, damn, like you're not even gonna have that many opportunities anymore. You kind of messed up. And when she was saying that, I'm just like, damn, like I really did mess up. Like I'm really trying to be legit now. And you know, I got to the point where it's like, I'm too old to chase this rap career. You know what I mean? I don't know where I'm gonna work at. I'm used to making money, so I'm not used to being having to go to like a CVS or something like that and work. I was making too much money as a drug dealer, so it was like, I can't see myself doing that. So again, I just went back to the cell and I prayed, man. It was like, I just need God to be able to show me the way to go. And next thing you know, started sketching. And it was just, like I said, it was like a light bulb. So, you know, I basically started to put my whole thing together right then and there.
Yeah, that's dope, man. So what was like the first piece that you did, like when you came home?
What was the first piece that I did while I was in jail sketching, or what was the first thing I did when I got home?
Well, both.
Okay, when I was in jail, my first sketch was actually at Air Force One. And when I did it, I'm like, damn, that thing looks like the real shoe laying on a piece of paper. And then one of my homies was like, man, you need to try to create your own shoe if you could do that. Yeah. And I just started creating my own. And the more I started getting into doing my own thing, the more I started to enjoy it. So then I started doing, you know, sneakers, jeans, glasses, belts. So I just started doing everything. So now, you know, I have 3-4 years worth of designs that I put together, and I came home and hit the ground running, you know what I mean? And then when I came home from jail, my main thing was, how can I take what I have on paper and turn it into something real? So when I tell you I call it everywhere, because I didn't know the first thing to do to start. You know, I'm calling like New Balance. I'm calling, you know, different. I didn't call Nike. I wasn't calling like the super big places. I remember I called, you know, Converse. I remember there was another Pro Kids. I was just reaching out to people like, yo, can y'all manufacture my shoe? And they was like, nah, man, we can't. Like, you need a manufacturer. You don't hit us for that. Like, you need a manufacturer. So I want to say someone that was at Pro Kids or something like that told me I needed to go find a factory, like a manufacturer to make it. And then that's when I started doing that. But I didn't know how to do it. Like, I really just knew how to sketch, and I had a bunch of ideas, but I didn't know how I was supposed to get that sneaker off the ground. I had no clue of anything. And the thing that's crazy is when you're in jail and you're talking to your friends in there, or talking on the phone or whatever, it's real easy for you to be like, yeah, I'm gonna come home, I'm gonna start my own sneaker brand, and I'm gonna put it up on Instagram, and it's gonna blow up, and I'm gonna do this. And it's like, it doesn't work like that at all. It's nothing like that, because it's much harder than that. So it's like, you know, when I listen to the guys that I talk to that's in jail now, like, yeah, you know, I'm gonna come home, you know what I mean, I'm gonna do such and such, I'm gonna start my own brand, I'm gonna start my own business. And it's like, I really hope you understand it's not gonna be that smoothly, man. Like you gotta make sure that you put in your paperwork that you know there's gonna be some hiccups on the way, and what are you gonna do if it doesn't work out? You know what I mean?
Backup plan.
Right. So it's much more difficult than what people think to start their own business. And I know with me, it was really easy for me to get a piece of paper and sketch something that I like. Right? Very easy to do that because I know what I like. But then the harsh reality hits when you go to show that to someone else. Like, man, I don't like that. That's too much. You was wrong. Why you gotta do this and that? So now when I go to create things, I have to create things that I like, that I think is going to be nice for me, but I also got to keep in mind everyone else has to like this product. And that's where it gets hard. Because no matter what it is that you do, someone's not going to like it. So it's like, for me, I look at it where it's like, if I just create something that's going to be comfortable for everyone, they're going to be like, what I need that for? I can just go get that from Nike. I can just go get that from Mitchell & Ness, or I can go get that from so-and-so. Like, they don't need your products. But then if you go above and beyond, it's like, you have a couple people that like that, but most people are going to be like, man, I wouldn't wear that. It looks good on you, but I'm not wearing that. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's like, you got to try to like foresee the future, but not get too far ahead of everyone else. And that's the part that gets difficult when it comes time for designing.
So what makes your product like unique or like stand out?
What I try to do with mine is I got to the point where I had to learn really quickly that people do not want names of brands on their chest if they never heard of you before. So like the name of my company was called Bungie Aviceni. That was the first brand that I did. And I remember people were like, Ablacini? Abla, what is that? What does that mean? And it's like, when they don't know what it means, they don't want it. So like for us being designers, we want our name over everything. So it finally caught me where I was like, okay, people don't really want this big name or this big logo on their chest, and they'll tell you that they don't want it, but then they'll wear like Eagles or they'll wear like Villanova or something like that. And that's when I started to realize that, okay, it's not that they don't wear big logos on their chest, they don't wear big logos they don't understand or they don't know.
So they gotta identify it.
So it's like, if it's a sports team or something like that, they're gonna wear it all day. But if it has something to do with a name brand that they never heard of before, they're not gonna wear it. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna have to start designing things in a way that's gonna be so like distinct that they're not going to worry about the name at all. So I started creating things that didn't have names on it. So I would just do like something tricky with like the sleeves, or I would have like a different type of hood or a different kind of collar or something like that to make it different than everything else. And then what I started to do with the brand that I have now is I was like, okay, every single year when football season starts, I always see the same jerseys, same sweatshirts, same t-shirts. What can I do to be a little bit more creative, to be able to do things that's going to stand out? And I started doing like bathrobes that was mixed in with a jersey. You know what I'm saying? So now I'm walking through the parking lot with this big bathrobe on, made out of cashmere with 26 on the front. And people are like, yo, what is that? And it stands out because they never saw it before, but it's like a 3/4 length, you know,
it's like
bathrobe. Yeah, exactly. So it's like, I just try to get creative like that. So now it's like when I do things, I always try to do something that's completely different than anything that's out. So that way when people see it, without them even having to think twice about it, they know they never saw it before. They know that it's crazy, and it's either going to be, I like it or I don't like it. And most of the time, people really like it.
Yeah, my cousin talks about that a lot, the impulse buying. You see something, it catches you, you're like, I gotta have it.
Right.
Where's your drive? Like, cause you know, like today was even hard, but people tell me like when it's the hardest days is the days you gotta go the hardest. Like to like wake up like, nah, I ain't feeling this. But like, where's your drive? Like what pushes you to keep going?
Success. I want to be successful. And when I say successful, I'm not talking about like me being rich. I'm talking about my version of being successful is making sure that my family is good, make sure everybody around me is good, and everyone has jobs. You know what I mean? So that's what I'm thriving for. So I don't have time to be waking up saying I don't feel like doing something. You know what I mean? I don't have the luxury to be able to be like, oh, today's not the day, I'm gonna go chill out. I'm gonna go as soon as I wake up to the time I go to bed. And that means there's times where I get invited to go to parties. I'm not going because I gotta work. There's times where it's like, it could be a family birthday, it could be something. I might slide in real quick and I gotta slide right back out, so I gotta get back to work. And what my work consists of, I feel like it never stops. So it's like, let's say for example, I go home, right? I get done doing my work day, I go home. While I'm home, I'm not gonna just sit there and just relax and put the football game on. I gotta put YouTube on, trying to find out how I can make my products better. Or, I'm going through different tutorials to try to find out what I can use to sketch my designs better. Or what's the newest thing that's out there that everyone is craving for, clothing wise. Like, I'm always on that next big thing. What's the new AI technology? How do I use that? How can I go about saving money with my brand instead of me spending all this money on models, cameramen, and this and that? Like, I'm constantly doing research. So I never have downtime to be able to be like, okay, I'm gonna fall back and I'm gonna chill today. Oh no, I don't feel like doing nothing tomorrow. I don't have that luxury because I'm on go from the minute that I wake up and have laptops on my lap all the way until I fall asleep. Sometimes I fall asleep with the laptop still on my chest. You know what I'm saying? And that's just how dedicated that I am to my business. And I just kind of feel like if you don't have that level of dedication, there's always someone out there that's gonna go harder than you. So it's like you don't have the luxury to be able to say, I don't feel like doing something. Because when you don't feel like doing something, someone else out there is hungrier than you and they're going to do it. Mm. So that's my mindset. And I'm going to be the hungriest in what I'm doing. So that's why every single day I'm dropping something new. I'm figuring something out. When it comes time for my company, I'm the one that does pretty much everything. Like, people be thinking I have this huge company with all these different people. I do the camera work. I do the editing. I do, the picking of the music. I'm the one that's doing the design work. Everything. And I do have help. Yeah. Like, I do have people that are doing the camera work for me that may follow me around with the camera, but I'm the one that's doing all the editing. I'm the one that's telling them how to shoot it. I'm pretty much taking control of everything that I'm doing, not because I'm a control freak, but because I know what I'm looking for. Mm-hmm. And I'm taking the time to get to know it. Cause I remember when I first started doing my music videos, when I first came home from jail, I was still rapping, and dudes was charging $2,000-$3,000 for a video, $4,000 sometimes. And I'm like, well, you was out there with this little camera and you basically got me to record this thing 3 or 4 times in different angles. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And then it took you a day for you to edit it and you gave it to me. You charging $5,000 for that? Like, there's got to be a way for me to be able to do that. So then I went and bought 2-3 cameras, had my homies like, yo, put a camera there, mocking what he did. Mm-hmm. And I just put all the pieces together and I started editing. I'm like, well, damn, when I do it, I don't just pick, because I felt like when he was doing my videos, I didn't think that he got the best view of me sometimes. Sometimes I was looking kind of crazy. So now with me editing my own stuff, I got control of what it is that I look like. So when I started doing that, I'm like, okay, I know I can do this. And that's when I started taking tutorials, started figuring stuff out. So now I don't have to worry about doing that part of it. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, I feel like if you're really into what you're doing, you'll figure it out. Mm-hmm. And that's pretty much where I'm at with it.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I'm with you on that. You definitely got to put work in. People that just want to like you said, just chill all day. I mean, that's where you're going to find yourself at. Just chilling, and everybody else going to be moving, and you're just going to find yourself just in the way, like they say,
Yep.
What was I going to say about the fashion? Did you want to lay out because I know when you said when you came home, it wasn't like what you thought. And like what everybody else think when they come home, it's just going to be like, snap your finger, people want it, other Nike or New Balance, like you said, whoever, they just gonna come knocking, or you, like you said, you was calling them, but you wasn't really getting them. They wasn't really trying to deal with you. So, let's get into that. Like, what was your?
I think for me, I didn't do enough research, so I didn't know anything about where I was gonna get my stuff manufactured at. And then when I finally did find a manufacturer, I didn't know anything about shipping. I didn't know anything about import-export brokers. I didn't know anything about cargo ships. I didn't know anything about any of that stuff. So I had to figure it out as I was going. And if I would have did all that research, that would have been much easier for me at that time. Mm-hmm. I think that a lot of us, we just kind of think that, this is what it's going to be and that's how we're going to be able to do it. And it's just going to work this smoothly, and it didn't work like that. It was like, once I found out that, I have to pay import-export taxes, I didn't even have that in my budget. Right. So I had to go try to find more money to be able to get my sneakers back. Mm-hmm. It's just like little things like that. And then it's like, when you're just playing around, you're having a conversation with people like, yo, what do you think about this? Yo, I'm gonna grab them. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna get them. As soon as you get them, let me know. Mm-hmm. And then it's like all those different people that said that, when they're here, no one wants to buy them. You know what I mean? And then it's like you have a choice that you gotta make. And I never looked at it like this, but I look at it like, if I have a pair of sneakers, I'm charging $160 for them, right? And most of the time, I'm paying that much almost for them anyway because I don't have the connections to be able to get it at a cheaper price.
Right.
So let's say I'm charging $160. If someone else is looking for a pair of sneakers and they have a choice to get LeBrons or they're gonna get mine, they're gonna go with LeBron every time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like I had to get to the point where it was like, okay, I gotta figure out who my target audience is because I never figured that out before. I always looked at it like, you know, I have people that are 5 years old and I have people that are 95 years old that say they like my stuff. But then I had to sooner or later figure out like, okay, my target audience is a specific group. They like high-end sneakers. They don't have no problem spending anywhere between $300 and $500 a pair of sneaks. And they shop at a particular place. So instead of me sitting there trying to go to all these different hood balls and all the different people I grew up with saying, y'all got these $300 sneakers, I'm not gonna waste my time anymore. I'm gonna go directly to the people that I want, and everyone else outside of that, they might pop in and grab something later on. But once I started to figure out all those different things, it's like you can't have a $100 t-shirt and try to sell it to somebody that spends $20 on t-shirts because they're not gonna buy them.
Right.
But you gotta go find the people that spend $100 on t-shirts. So once you find that out, you'll be good. But then you also have to make sure that your quality is good enough because someone that pays $100 for a shirt, they know what it feels like. Yeah. So you can't go over there with no Gildan t-shirt talking about you want $100 for this because it's not gonna work.
Yeah, they're gonna be like,
right.
Speaking of that, what was your fashion influences like coming up?
I used to think a lot of dudes was fresh back in the day. Even though everybody thought the Andre 3000 was weird, I liked him because he felt like he can do whatever he wanted to do.
Oh yeah.
And there was no worrying about what other people felt about him.
You know what's funny about him, real quick? Sorry to cut you off, but they thought Erykah Badu freaked them out or something, but they didn't know he already was on that wave.
Right. And I just like the creativeness on how he was. I did like how Jay-Z was getting down for a minute. I don't know. I mean, I really never really looked at anyone else and said, I want to be like that person. I never really was that kind of person. But I do know that I pay attention, so I see the people doing their thing. But I never saw Jay-Z. I was like, I gotta go get me a button up now because he said something about a button up. Or I gotta go get a jersey because he said a jersey. Like, I was never that person. I was always the kind of person that was like over here where everybody else was over there. So like my best examples, and these are true examples. When I was a young boy, everybody wanted to wear Jordans.
Oh yeah.
Since everybody wanted to wear Jordans, I'm over here wearing shell tops. Okay. You know what I'm saying? I'm not wearing Jordans because everybody else has them. I'm wearing shell tops. I remember when everybody was on level with Beyonce, I'm gonna love Kelly. I don't want Beyonce. You know what I mean? Because everybody else wanted it. And it's just, I don't know what's in my mind that makes me be like that. But whatever it is that everyone likes, I don't like it. You know what I'm saying? Like when everybody was riding Jordan, I'm AI. I'm not messing with Jordan. AI is my guy. You know what I'm saying? So it was like, for some reason, I'm just always the opposite of everyone else.
You know what I mean? You trying to get different. That's how I be too. Like I like different stuff. I like to try to get my own thing.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
What about the labels though? Like I know Tommy was huge when I was a young boy. Like Tommy Hill, like Polo.
Yeah, Polo, Tommy, Avizu. Fubu was hot for a little minute. Like when they first started coming out, everybody was really rocking them. It was like a couple years later, everybody was like, nah. Matter of fact, I say when they started messing with the Fat Albert stuff and all that, that's when the cart started to kind of get corny. Mm-hmm. But for the most part, everybody was messing with that. But like, you know, I don't know, man. Like I really don't even remember what it was that I was really wearing because honestly, the only time I really got dressed back then was to go do shows. Mm-hmm. And a lot of times my manager and them would like help me out and stuff. I think that I didn't realize how into fashion I was until after I got in jail for that 7 years. And once I got to jail for that 7 years, my mom would send me magazines and stuff. And I started to see the fresh in that, you know what I mean? But I started to gravitate towards more like the high end, you know, Neiman Marcus level type stuff. So I wasn't really messing with like the City Blues and you know, like them. I don't even mess with them stores. To this day, I don't. And one of the reasons why is not because I think that it's cheap or anything like that, but I feel like when you go to one of those type of stores, they have stacks and stacks of clothes, which means when you go buy that one shirt or that one pants, you might see 30 people with that same outfit on that night. You know what I mean? So that goes back to when I said I don't like having everything everyone else has. Mm-hmm. So when you go to like a Neiman Marcus or something like that, you don't see a whole bunch of the same piece there. You know what I mean? You only see a couple of them. So that's when I started to gravitate towards more like boutique styles and stuff like that. And sometimes on some real, like I learned this from Bernard Hopkins, the boxer.
Yeah.
You know, they be going to like, you know, thrift stores and finding like major joints from the 70s, 80s and stuff like that. And you might get it cheap as still a really good piece. So I do thrifting. I do a bunch of different stuff, you know, just to try to make my outfits pop off a little bit. So, yeah.
One of the things, like, we were growing up in Paoli, right?
Yeah.
All right. So, cause like my mom's from up here, my dad's from Germantown,
Mm-hmm.
so that's how I would be going down there. But how was you like in Philly though? I wasn't really clear like when I watched the show.
Well, the way that it happened was I have family members that were older than me, and then I had uncles and aunts that were into drugs and stuff like that. So I would get introduced to the city by going there with them. You know what I mean? So like if my cousin, for example, he's the one that first put me on. I get in the car with him and take me down North 5th Street. And I'm sitting there watching him grab the stuff, and then he'll, you know, get in the car, we go back around the way and sell it and stuff like that. Then, you know, my aunt, she moved to Philly. So I used to go over there with my cousin all the time. So I was always in the city. Then I had another cousin who had a grandma that lived on 9th and Cumberland.
Okay.
So every summer we was out there at 9th and Cumberland. I had a car when I turned 16, so I'm riding around doing my thing. So I was always in the city, was always doing my thing, and then it just kind of just gradually took over from the city to Paoli, and it's just what it was.
Yeah, I got you with that. Trying to think of like, you know, things that you wanted to put out there. Cause I remember you were saying some other platforms you ain't really feel like.
Yeah, I just kind of feel like, you know, again, I always sing praises. Like I started my thing in jail, and then, you know, my big release was Foot Locker. And then after I did that big Foot Locker release, it was Neiman Marcus. But one of the things that I was telling you before is it was just like, no one knew that, you know, behind the scenes, I had to go get investors because I didn't do this by myself. I had help. Once I ended up getting my investors, I'm dealing with a group of people not realizing that when you get an investor, it's like you're getting a marriage, like you're getting married. You're in business with these people. And I think in the very beginning, I was so fresh out of jail getting with corporate people that I didn't know when I was getting dissed. You know what I mean? I didn't know, you know, I didn't feel the vibes off of you know, the business lingo, because I didn't understand it. Mm-hmm. They was using like a lot of abbreviations on stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like it was just, I didn't understand what it was. And I felt like it was a cross between being street and being in corporate. And it was just like, I still had the street temper, mm-hmm. but I couldn't release it in the boardroom, kinda. Mm-hmm. So I had to basically go to YouTube and like find out how I'm supposed to be able to react in a boardroom situation, or how am I supposed to carry myself. And I got to the point where it started to get so bad that my investors got me a business coach to be able to show me how to conduct myself in a boardroom setting. And I think that a lot of times people will be like, well, if you can sell drugs, you can be a businessman. It's true to a certain extent, because all the rules that I learned in the streets, those rules don't apply in business. Right. In corporate, there's always somebody snitching on you if you're not doing the right thing. They're always trying to step on your toes to get to the next level. Like corporate is grimy. You know what I mean? And the things that people do in corporate, you can get killed for that in the street. You know what I mean? So it's like, you know, I just got to the point where I had to kind of get used to, you know, dealing with different people on different levels that don't have that same street value that I had. Because it was like, you know, there were certain things that happened where it was like, you know, just as an example, one of the people that work with us, they may have been late on something, right? And there was a deadline, maybe let's say Tuesday. I'm just giving an example. Mm-hmm. This isn't true, but like this is the kind of example I can give you. And that deadline will come up, and I would try to help that person because they didn't finish it. And then by the time we go to the meeting on Wednesday, literally 1 minute before the meeting, we just finished it, and then she'll go in there and be like, yeah, I did this a couple of days ago, and we did da. And I'm backing her. Yeah, she did it a couple of days ago. We went over it 2 days ago, and I'm backing her up. And then literally 2 days later, you biting my back out because I didn't do something on time. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, it's stuff like that. And like I said, I have real stories, but that's just like a fabricated example of what I mean. Like, if I'm helping you out to try to cover you, to help make sure that you're good,
right?
Why would you throw me under the bus when it's my turn and need your help?
And I have my back, yeah.
Right. So it's like, to me, I just felt like the whole corporate setting is not for me, basically. I'd rather just, get out in the field, do what I gotta do, like, with the creativeness, and then let everyone else be corporate. And I just go do my interviews, go do what I need to do, put this item out, and let me skate over here, because I'm not really into that. Yeah. You know what I mean? And like I told you, it was a long journey because I really had to figure out how to navigate through getting through these meetings. Like, we had meetings like every week. And like, one of the things that people don't realize, again, when it comes time from my perspective, is I'm dealing with millionaires and billionaires that have never done business with someone like me before. I don't know if it was because of what happened with George Floyd and a bunch of other things that was happening at that time that they ended up giving me an opportunity. But like, it wasn't like a typical business thing, because it was like everything was heavily monitored because of me, because of my background. Like, if you're going to spend money, I need to know that you're spending it on this, or I need you to make sure that you do that. How do I know that you're not going to run off of my money? But they wouldn't do that with anyone else, but it's because of me. And I get it, because I felt like I had to prove myself anyway. Right. But these are all different things that come along with, being a Black entrepreneur when you're in these type of settings. I'm not trying to be racist or anything like that. I'm just telling you the truth. There was times where, like, I have a person that's my chief of staff. She's white, and we've been into a couple of different places where, we're going in for meetings, and she would be the one talking, and then matter of fact, we'd be both in there talking, but the person that we're having a meeting with wouldn't even look at me. They would look directly at her and talk to her and act like I'm not even in the room. And she used to get pissed off, like, well, damn, like, he's the boss.
Right.
How are you talking to me instead of talking to him? He's the one that's going to make the decisions, not me. So it's like all those little things behind the scenes is what people don't see. They only see my celebrations on Facebook. Mm-hmm. So it's like, I really just one day want to be able to just have a conversation or be able to just show people what it's like. Because I felt like if a lot of people saw what it was like, they would probably support the brand much more than what they already do. You know what I mean? Because I fight to get this stuff out, man. It's not easy.
So, first time, like, when you came home, what was that, like 13, 12?
Yeah.
All right. So, when did you feel like I made it? Like, when did you feel like I'm you know what I mean? Like,
I still don't feel like I made it. Even with the finances that I've gotten, even with the deals that I've gotten, because I feel like my goals are bigger than what I've achieved. So I don't feel like I made it.
How about this? Coming from where we come from, and just being in the streets and then getting incarcerated. Like, I'm just saying, like, the time that you feel like
I know what you're asking.
Yeah, like the time where you feel like, all right.
So here's the best
better than what I've done all my whole life.
I'm going to give you a different scenario, right? Let's say, for example, you put up a post on Instagram, right? Just as an example. And you have everyone on there like, yo, Darren, man, you did a great job. The interview's great, interview's great. And you just keep seeing all these different compliments. And you're just saying, thank you. You're trying to, respond to all the different captions or all the different messages. And you have one person that's like, man, your joint sucks.
Right.
That's going to grab your attention more than all the different people praising you, right?
Because you know that's
right. So now you're going to go to his page, see who he is, find out why he's saying that. You might even hit him up and ask him what he's doing or whatever. And it's like that one thing is what grabbed your attention. So in my situation, it's like no matter how much I get praised, I always was wondering like why people in my own neighborhood they don't buy my stuff. You know what I mean? Like people I grew up with, they're not buying my stuff. So even though I'm getting praised by all these different people, I'm in Neiman Marcus. People in Neiman Marcus is like, yo, your stuff is amazing, blah, 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 blah. But it's like, in the back of my mind, I'm like, but my people around my way aren't even wearing my stuff. You know, it's like, even if they just ask for something for free just to be able to represent my brand, I would probably do that just because I want them to wear my stuff so bad. But it's almost like some kind of press conference went out that I don't know about. It's like, yo, don't rock none of his stuff. You know what I mean? So it's like, no matter, again, if I felt like everyone supported me, and I felt like, especially because I really only made my brand for the people around my neighborhood, not for where it got to. But it basically skyrocketed past my neighborhood and went to all these other places that I don't even know about, but my own neighborhood's not rocking it. So that's what's bothering me a little bit. You know what I mean?
That's funny that you just said all that, because that's one of the questions I wrote down this morning was it was like, you know, did you get more support from your community or outside of your community? And you basically just tackled that.
Outside the community. And one thing I can tell you is it would be real nice to be able to go into my neighborhood and see everybody wearing my sneakers, or to see everybody wearing my clothes or something like that. But it's almost like people in my neighborhood make sure that they're not going to do that. You know, so it's like, you know, I don't really know what it is, because it could be because of how much the stuff costs. But one thing that I can tell you, when I first started out, I didn't have $200 shirts. I had $20 shirts. Like, even like right now on my website, I have $500 sneakers on there for $50. You know what I mean? Like, I just decided, I was like, you know what? Once we started going over to the Bungee USA stuff, I was like, I'm gonna give everybody the opportunity to go grab my stuff. I'm not even making any money off of this. Yeah. So all my sneakers, every single pair of sneakers on my website is $50, and they're still not buying them in my neighborhood. So I was like, I don't really know what else I could possibly do. You're about to get $300 to $500 pair of sneakers for $50, and you're still not buying them. Like, you know, and like, honestly, in the front of my mind, I'm like, man, I don't care if they buy it or not. I'm good regardless. But in the back of my mind, I'm lying to myself, because I do care. Like, I do want to know why people don't want to buy my stuff. You know, like, and then the thing that's even crazier is, like, when you have other people in your neighborhood that started their own brands, and they're wearing their stuff, but they're not wearing my joint. And I'm just looking at it where it's like, if I was around my way, if I grew up in my neighborhood, and there was a guy that started a clothing brand that ended up on Inside Edition, NBC Today Show, Nick Cannon Show, on Fox 29 almost every other month, VH1, doing all these major things, why wouldn't I rock with him? Like, he's supporting my town. You know what I mean? So it's like, for the life of me, I don't know what it is. Nah, I don't know.
Do you feel like it's crabs in the bucket, or?
I don't think so. Yeah. I mean, I really don't know the answer to it. I'll be lying to you. I do know that because of what my life was like prior to me changing it, I don't know if I rubbed people the wrong way. I don't know. But I never really did anything crazy, because even when I was selling drugs, I was trying to use that money to be an entrepreneur. I had a sneaker store down South Street, you know, for a couple of years. You know, I had a record label, I had a studio, I had a bunch of different things I was putting that money towards. I wasn't out there wilding, I wasn't out there pulling guns, I wasn't doing nothing crazy. I wasn't even disrespecting the hood, because all the drug transactions I was doing wasn't even in the middle of the street. It was always in a place that no one ever knew. So people might have known that I was selling drugs, but they didn't know that I was selling drugs. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So for me, I just look at it where it's like, I don't know if that's the reason. I do know that I had a conversation with someone over the weekend, which was very, very interesting, because I had no clue with this. But I had a conversation with one of my friends, and dude was telling me that a lot of people in my neighborhood didn't like me because I had stuff. You know what I mean? Because I did have two parents. Yeah. Both of my parents had good jobs. So I already told you, when I turned 16, I got a brand new car. Yeah. When I was 5 years old, I had a motorcycle. I had bikes. I had YZ80s, three-wheelers. I had all kind of stuff when I was like between 10 and 14. So I didn't realize that people were not liking me because I had this stuff. I wasn't living my life off of trying to show off for you. I was just living my life. My parents was giving it to me. I was riding it. You know what I mean?
It's like envy, though.
Yeah, and I didn't know that. And then, like, the guy that was talking to me, it was about someone that has not liked me. I met this dude probably when I was maybe like 12, 13 years old, maybe even younger than that. And to this day, this dude does not like me, and I never did anything to him. And the one guy I talked to over the weekend was telling me the reason why he doesn't like you is because he didn't like the fact that you had all this stuff. But it's like, what's that stuff have to do with me personally?
Yeah, like as a person, right?
It's like, so a lot of people, I think that it could just be the fact that they might have thought that I thought I was this. I don't know. I don't really know what the answer could be. I just know that me as a person, I try to help as many people as I can. I try to do it. Like, you even seen, once I messed up with the timing, I've been rocking with you ever since, doing whatever it is that you asked of me, even though I'm super busy. You know what I mean? It's like, I'm just that kind of person with everyone. So it's like, if I'm doing all these different things for people and trying to help people, how can you possibly dislike me so much?
So that's my next thing, right? I can answer that for, like, I've been trying to tell the audience and tell people, like, we really don't really know each other. We know each other through other people, things like that. But, like, I can attest to that because if you were that kind of person, you wouldn't be here.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So that's easy for anybody that sees this. I can't just co-sign something that's not authentic. It's not real. You know what I mean? So I know you being real.
I forget what it was, but I think I either missed your call or I didn't see your text for a while, and then my man John hit me up. Was like, "Yo, you didn't respond to Darren's text,"
Yeah.
And I felt bad because I didn't see him. Like, I got so many text messages, I didn't even see you texting me. So when I went back and I seen it, I'm like, damn, he reached out to me a couple times. I felt bad.
Yeah.
And that's why I was like, yo, from this point on, no matter what time that it is, no matter what date it is, I will make it a point to make it to whatever it is you need me to do. And I'm telling you, I'm like that with everybody.
That's
why, for me, I don't understand how, people can judge me off of what they think that I'm doing rather than getting to know me first.
I'm glad that this came up in the conversation because, like, my brother hit me up yesterday. He's like, you got like 1.6 views. So it's probably hit a couple thousand. I mean, it's not a lot, but it's a lot. When I wasn't really getting a lot of, this weekend, a lot of people was reposting with that little 13-minute, the little snippet or whatever we did. But the funny thing is, there's a lot of people that I didn't really know or I'm not really tight with. Now, there is, shout out to my family and friends that actually did it on their own without me asking, or the ones that actually did it that I am cool and I do rock with. But I mean, like you said, it just seems like it'd be a lot of people that's the outside people that really show you more love than like people that you've been rocking with your whole life. It's crazy, man.
And then it's like, you gotta look at it from a perspective of, so many people will say that they have their own brand, or so many people will say that they have their own businesses, but they're not like really prepared for it. So I think what happens is we may get that support early on, and when people see that's not what they thought it was, man, I ain't even rocking with dude. He's not really doing this thing. And I can honestly tell you, it took me years to get to the level where I'm at right now. Like, I was buying cheap sneakers and I thought they was good, or I had, the Gildan shirts and stuff, pressing on them. Like, I started off with all that.
Yeah, that's what I did.
So it was like, there's nothing wrong with it. But like, what my thing was, me personally, I was pressing on the Gildan shirts. And then I said I had a high-end brand, and that's not high-end. You know what I mean? Like, you can't just...
You gotta work up.
Right, and like, having a high-end brand is more about the quality of your merch rather than you saying it. You know what I mean? And that's where I think that, it was a learning experience for me. So again, early on, I could see if people were buying my stuff and were like, oh man, this stuff isn't what it is. And then eventually not buy anything, but they wasn't buying my stuff even in the beginning. Yeah. So I think that what happened with me, I think my brand started to blow up when I started to get all the TV exposure. Because once I started getting on TV, that's when people started to realize it was real. And I started to get people that were outside of my community that was watching me on TV that was like, oh, let me give this guy a chance. Oh, he started this brand while he was incarcerated. Let me try to give him a shot. And that's how it started to blow up. So I definitely believe that, like you said, everything happens for a reason. And, even though I'm thankful for all the different outside help that I get and all the love that I get, I still just wish that I could just have like a community day and have a conversation with people like, bro, what happened? Yeah. What's wrong? How come I can't get you guys to love me, man? Like, what I gotta do? You know what I'm saying? Because it's crazy to me. Like, I be having conversations with people around my way and I'm just like, yo, like, what do you think that it is? Because I didn't do anything to anyone for them to not support the brand in the way that I would like it to. Like, so that's why I'm just like, I would love to be able to go out there and have a block party, give away free merch, do stuff like that. But like, when you're in a situation like mine, would you go around your way to do a party like that when no one gave you support? Or would you go to Chicago where everybody's giving you support? Yeah. I'm going to go to wherever I'm getting supported at to go give away some free merch and do something like that. Like, it's common sense. So it's like, I just really wish that, there was ways to be able to just have these conversations, because I hear it all the time when people start their businesses, people that they're friends with or people that are in their own community don't support first. I just wonder what it is. I would like to talk to the community, not necessarily about me, but I would like to talk to the community to find out why people have to go outside of the community to get love first before they come back to get love from their community. Like, it's weird to me. Makes no sense.
Yeah, it's like, when I started doing this, it was my aunt, shout out to my Aunt Dolly. She kept calling me and she would be talking about relationship issues she was going through. And then it was like right around New Year's, and something just hit me, and I was like, "Would you ever want to do a podcast?" And she was like, "Yeah, let's do it." And I was like, "For real?" She was like, "Yeah, let's do it Monday night." So because she know I don't work on Monday, I work Tuesday to Saturday. So she said, "Let's do Monday nights at 7." She did some research, and she found out people like to go on Facebook or Instagram or Twitter, whatever, between like 6 and 8.
Mm-hmm.
So we started doing every Monday at like 7. And then, 3-4 months? I think we did 13 shows every Monday for like 3 months. And we went to New Orleans. We went down to Super Bowl. We did. It was a nice run. And then she was like, "All right, I gotta let you go. You gotta do." She was like, yeah. but she didn't kick it to me like that at first. At first, she was like, I got to do this, because she's an entrepreneur too. She got her own businesses as well. So she was like, one week she was like, "You got to do this by yourself tonight. I can't do it. I'm not feeling it." She said she was sick. So I did the whole show by myself, and she was like, "That was so good. Like, you're good. Like, you don't need me, blah, blah, blah." And then that's how, a couple people helped me come up with the plug-in. But yeah, man, it's always a journey that we got to take to get somewhere, man. And it comes with a lot of no's,
right?
A lot of doubt, a lot of people saying, "Ah, man, nah, he ain't gonna do nothing." You know what I mean? Like, but
I just feel like when it comes time for other cultures, it's not usually like that. You know what I mean? It's like, if you have an Italian designer that you never saw before, like I never, like, think about the first time you ever heard of Balenciaga or something like that.
Yeah.
Why was that
Fab
respected?
used to talk about it.
Yeah, but why was that respected so much more in the hood than somebody else is coming out with, like my brand, like a Bungie Albuquerque? It's like, so since Fab talked about it, it co-signs it. Like, why does a celebrity have to co-sign? Because like, I'm the kind of person where I don't need to see the biggest superstar on TV wearing an outfit for me to go buy it. Like, if I go to a store and I see it and I like it, I'm buying it. If someone's hustling that thing to me and it's coming out of the barbershop, if I see it, I like it, I'm buying it. I don't have to see, one of these rappers wearing it or an actor wearing it. I don't need that. So that's why I don't understand influencers. I don't understand, like, the whole, like, what are people thinking that they need someone else to wear something for them to think that it's hot first? Like, I don't get that. I don't know what part of their brain that I need to have to be able to understand it. But it's like, I don't need to see anyone else wearing something to make me want to wear it. If I like it, I'm going to buy it.
For some reason, I'm thinking of the Hammer pants. Because Hammer knew that them Jones wasn't great, but people liked it. And people started wearing it. I was too young, but I know that was like a thing for a while. But yeah, even something goofy like that, just because he's on TV and he got the #1 song.
Yeah, but at that time, I was old enough to know about it because I used to have some.
Yeah.
It wasn't about him because there was other artists that was wearing them too. Like Bobby Brown had them.
Oh yeah.
New Edition was wearing them. Like, it was a bunch of other people that was wearing them. And at that time, more R&B dudes was wearing it than hip hop. So definitely, they called him Hammer Pants because he was one that used to dance all crazy in them and all that. But there was so many other artists that used to wear those pants that, I think that, like, people started wearing them outside of MC Hammer. That's what made everybody start wearing them. Because I definitely didn't wear them because of Hammer at all. That's crazy.
Somebody asked me if you was related to Rayful Alston.
Rayful Alston, yeah.
You are?
Yeah. I don't know him like
Skip,
that.
Right?
Yeah, Skip.
Yeah.
I don't personally know him, but we are related to him though.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, my dad told me that we're related to him. So my dad knows his family, or knows his parents or something. But I never met him personally, so I don't know who he is. Matter of fact, I'm lying. I met him at N1 before, but I didn't know that he was my cousin at the time.
New York?
No, he was in Paoli.
Paoli.
Yeah, Paoli used to have, N1 used to have a headquarters in Paoli.
Okay.
So he was out there. So I met him there before, but I didn't know he was my cousin though.
So I seen, did you do the Charlie Mack show? Okay.
John, yeah.
Because is his name the same as yours too?
Yeah.
Are y'all related too?
I thought that we were, but he told me the other day that we weren't. Because he said that's his last name, but I think he got that name given to him through a marriage or something like that.
Okay. How was that though? How was it? Because I seen it on Instagram, but I never really
What, the interview?
How was that whole experience?
I think that whenever I get a chance to talk to people I look up to is always great. Because him and Uncle O Uncle O and Charlie Mack, I looked up to both of those guys, and to have a conversation with them and be on their platform was incredible for me. And then plus Charlie plugged me in with so many things, man. Like he plugged me in with the Will Smith thing.
Okay.
He plugged me in with, you know, all these different celebrities, man. Like, and he continues to do it. So it's like Charlie is definitely a blessing in disguise for me. Like just me to be a part of what he's doing is just a great thing for me.
So I ain't gonna lie, I didn't really know about him until I was down in New Orleans, and it's crazy because somebody in New Orleans from New York was like, "Yo, you gotta get with Charlie Mack," and then that's when I started like looking at his stuff. But yeah, that's somebody that I gotta
Charlie
try.
Mack is definitely the unofficial president. I'm not even gonna say mayor. He's the president of Philly. You know what I mean? Like everyone that does anything goes through him. And I think that, you know, we've had plenty of conversations and he drops jewels on me all the time. And one of the things that he taught me was the importance of relationships. Like, and he knows how to nurture each relationship. So for me to see how he navigates from this person to that person to this person to that person, he has different relationships with everyone. It's amazing to watch. Like, dude is one of those guys where he knows everyone, and when he shows you those photos, he really knows these people. It's not like he's just taking a pic with them and then leaving. Like, he really has relationships with people. So Charlie is definitely one of the people that you should look at to want to emulate what he does, because he's an incredible dude, man. Trust me.
I know we gotta get ready to wrap, but what yesterday I seen you did something for Jaden Daniels.
Jaden Daniels' mom, she actually wore one of the pieces that I created, and right now the thing is blowing up. Like, I posted a video of her hugging Jaden Daniels.
Yeah.
I wasn't the one that took the footage. I basically just got this off of her page, but I put it on mine, and people are snapping out. Like, so I ended up doing a one-of-one piece for her, and then I've also done like one-on-one pieces with Saquon Barkley and a couple other people. So so Bungee USA is basically inspired sports merch, and I did it because I just wanted to bring something different to the game, because I got so tired of seeing the same things every year. So now it's like I'm wearing, you know, I'm making suede jerseys, I'm making, you know, cashmere jerseys, I'm doing all kind of leather jackets that look like jerseys and stuff like that. So I'm just trying to do something new, you know. But yeah, she definitely helped me out, locked out with that.
Yeah, no, that's what's up. I seen it. I was like, yeah, that's dope, man. Yeah, he definitely doing something, man. Big things. But yeah, man, I just appreciate you pulling up to the plug-in, man. Just
and I gotta come back. We didn't get a chance to like really rap about everything.
Yeah,
but
for sure.
I don't want to steal anything, but holla at me on Instagram, Bungee Brand USA. Facebook is Bungee Raiment, and check out our website, bungeeusa.com.
And the last thing, how did you get the Ablinci? How you say it?
Abliceni.
Abliceni. Where did you get that from?
That basically is a synonym of clothes. Like, it just means clothes. It's just a Czechoslovakian word. So instead of it being like Bungee apparel, I looked up synonyms for apparel, and I didn't find anything at first, but then I started looking at other countries. And when I started doing that, I saw Abliceni. I was like, Bungee Abliceni, it just fits.
Yeah.
So all it is just Bungee apparel, but it just says it's Abliceni in Czechoslovakian.
It's dope, man.
So, yeah.
All right, man. Well, yeah, like you said, man, we gonna definitely do some more episodes in the future, and yeah, appreciate everybody that's going to repost and plug in with us.
Yeah, we definitely need a part two. We didn't get a chance to talk about none of the Foot Locker releases, the Neiman Marcus releases, what we have coming up. It's a whole bunch of different stuff that we need to talk about. So I'll come back. Let me know when you're ready.
Appreciate you.
All right.
Yeah, man.
Thanks.
Got the plug in on it. Then my cousin, I told you my cousin here, he do his little art.
Okay.
Art,
I like that.
That's the art department.
Okay.
Yeah, that's just something for you just to.
I'm definitely gonna wear this, John. I'm gonna take some pictures in it too.